storage yesterday, and nobody's ever in the office. It's like that. I think people just kick back and collect that pay. But anyway, it went directly to their answering service, which also handles payments and stuff. And their figures are always different than what's in house, because I've had them tell me that when they're like, "Well, on our account it only shows this," and if you can catch them over there to go pay them, then you'll save $20, $30. But it's always been like that. But anyway, so now this is the same storage that at one point got jacked up to like $270 that I vlogged about a little while back. And they redid the account, they'd closed it, then reopened it with the same unit number or something. And she did something or other and wanted me to sign a new contract, give her a Google review, and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, so they got it down to, like I think it was 157, which is like the going rate for non-air controlled units. But anyway, so now this is the same unit that I had no access to because apparently somebody tried to break into it, is what the guy that's on the property now claimed. There used to be like four girls running the place when I first rented there. And now there's some guy, and sometimes the girl helps. I don't know. But anyway, so I called, and when nobody answers the phone in the office, which that's there to open the office, and so anyway, it'll go to an answering service they have that also handles everything. They can look into the account and all that kind of stuff. Now this is a corporate complex, so there's more than one. And so anyway, uh, I called and it went to the answering service, of course. And they're always very nice. And they look it up, and I'm going to make a payment. And I normally pay like 167 at this point. Um, when they had it screwed up before, it was cranked up to about 270. I'm like, man, I can rent an air controlled one for that. That's huge. It's like 2, 3 times that size. So anyway, uh, so last month I paid 167, like 10 or something like that, some kind of change, and the month before, and so anyway, the operator tells me, oh, it's $190, and I said, well, I mean, when was it due? And they're like, well, yesterday, or no, it's due actually today. Is when the payment's due before it goes into late charge. And so, anyway, uh, I said, well, last month I paid 167 and some change. And so uh, they said, well, it's 190 because they raised it. They sent you a raise, and it's like I never saw it. So anyway, so uh, no, so anyway, I said, all right, thank you. So I know there's going to be a different price in their office if I can catch them. So I called a couple times yesterday. Finally, I caught the guy, and it was like probably around 2 in the afternoon yesterday. And he was real nice, and I said, okay, when's my unit due and how much is it? And he says, well, it's tomorrow. And he looks at it, and I said, I paid 167 something last month, I think it was. And he says, he looks it up and he goes, no, it's 157. And he said, but oh wait, he said, it's showing 190. I said, well, I can't have any late charges if it's not late. See, now I've been through this rodeo before with them several times on this. And so anyway, He says, I'm going to call the other complex or the district person or whatever and check on this because I said, yeah, because that's a pretty big jump, you know, uh, for a unit that's like 3 months or something like that, and, who wants to rent like that if they're just going to keep jacking the price up, you know? I mean, that's just lame. Most of these complexes go about a year, if they even raise the rent. Usually they prefer long termers because they pay, you know, and they never have to worry about payment because they pay. And so, the whole idea is renting a piece of land, small, very small piece of land and getting a huge income. These storage companies make gigantic money. And many of them don't pay their employees poop. The percentage of their intake is just minuscule in what they pay employees to work some of these complexes. Some of them pay very well. I was recently offered a job for a brand new complex in Panama for huge money. And the only problem was, uh, with a tourist season coming up and all that, it would make it very difficult to even rent a hotel by the week, till I could, get a place. In Panama, for my other business, is not that great because that went down years ago. The money down there went down years ago in the entertainment industry. So, a great deal of clubs have closed and they're problematic. And the ones that exist now are just kind of barely running. So as far as pressing entertainers, it just kind of may not be that profitable because there's not many options. So that would still put me back on the road, which that's okay too. I mean, I did that for years. But anyway, but I could also work the trains. I did that for 5 6 years, and he would love to have me back. So anyway, I haven't heard anything. The problem is that if I move everything out, I would have about 4 days, and I have to work my job too. And I've got my gold seahorse fountain in there. That creates a gigantic problem because I'm no longer able to lift and move that around myself when I used to all day long. Um, and I don't have my daughter with me to help. She's incredible, really strong and just incredible. And I mean, the two of us could lift the pieces to that fountain and move them, Um, but and then I've got two friends that will help me if I can catch them in time, to try to help me move it because it's in pieces, it has to be moved in two pieces. So anyway, but it's really heavy. There's no way I can do it myself. Um, so that's a big trick. That's the biggest problem of all is trying to move that fountain. And so anyway, I have been moving stuff out of there little by little and stuffing it into another storage complex because I just wanted to get away from there because after it got broke into supposedly, and then the way they're so flighty with the prices and stuff, I didn't want to get into a problem with it again. And all that unit over there is like my daughter's stuff, and so which I'm going to be forced to start selling now. Sadly enough, I just can't afford to keep housing it. I would probably keep some very special things, um, but majority of it's got to go. It's just really expensive. Paying all the storages and not having a place to lay my head is really lame. But if I were renting a place to live, it would be cheaper than renting a place to live. So there's that thought. It's not a total waste of money. I mean, I've reduced so much out and sold and gave away and donated. Majority of all the furniture and things I didn't have to have. Um, you know, and which will create a problem when I go to move into a place because I have to buy all this stuff. But you have to remember when you put stuff in storage, unless that stuff's really special, like as in furniture, unless it's worth tons of money. I'm so hoarse from talking at work. Unless it's worth, tons of money, you have to remember that every month you pay that storage rent, that, if you end up longer than a few months, then, it's like so many thousand a year. And I mean, for that, you could be buying really expensive brand new furniture instead of paying to house some furniture. So, I had a friend of mine told me that about 5 years ago, a real estate broker, and he's like, whatever you do, if you're going to move, just don't store a ton of furniture. And I'm like, well, because I was hoping to relocate to the next place, and which didn't happen. And so, his advice was true because, a lot of this stuff you can afford to replace, whether new or used. It's cheaper to get rid of it. Whether you donate it, that's a tax write off. Whether you give it away to a friend that needs it or you sell it. I mean, all my stuff that I sold, I made exactly what I paid for it or more used. So it didn't hurt me a bit. And that's somebody playing music here in the background over here. And it'll mess up my vlog. And so, that really is the greatest advice of all. The only problem is that, like 80% of what's in the storages is for my businesses. And, I have to have that. And a lot of that stuff's taken years to accrue from tools and supplies and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, I could sell that stuff off, but it would just be, pennies on the dollar, and I would have to purchase it all again. And it's really expensive, And when you go to Stud and Stone a jacket, I've bought a lot of my stuff in bulk and really high quality products, and you can't get that just in these little hobby stores. You have to order it, and it's grossly expensive. You're gonna pay like $3 or $4 for a bag of like 10 studs. Where I would order them in the hundreds and thousands and get really high quality. And so, if you lose a lot of money if you have to do that, and I need the stuff right then. If I get an order, I need the stuff right then. So you're wasting gas time to go shop around to get it. I don't, have like a mailing address right now. That creates a problem. So thank you for the thumbs up. So, yeah. So, here I'm contemplating on this unit. Um, I have 4 days till they lock it up for late charge. I only have today off. Um, uh, and so, um, and I don't get off till night, and I sure can't do it in the morning. So, it's creating a problem. Well, hello, hello. How are you? And um, even though I've been moving stuff, a little bit at a time, which is so much easier than moving the whole lot. Um, I was, hoping to get at least half of it out, which I've got about 1/4 of it out at this time out of that unit. But still, I have the Gold Sealers fountain and all the other stuff behind it, and it's all boxed. Everything's boxed except for my steam cleaners. And so it's, not a big hairy deal. But uh, one of the complexes I use, it's got a lot of renters right now, so units are hard to come by. And they're trying to talk me into a big unit because there's a huge discount price for a few months on it. But the problem is that I'm going to be back up in financially into, a huge amount of money. And I don't have the time to go list this stuff and sell it because of my job. So, you know, it's just going to make me have to work harder to pay more storage. And then it's less money to save to get a place to live. So, um, I have to check back with this guy and see if he can Mickey Mouse that payment around. Otherwise, see how much I can move today. And then, if I'm able to try to get that out by the 4th or the 3rd, I guess, then I just won't pay them. I'll move out. and I'm done with the game. And I save my 160 or 190, whatever it is they're going to decide to charge me, um, and just be investing in some other units, one or two, because the other one I have to wait on, the big one they're trying to sell me. That's half the price, for a few months. But and I just can't keep moving the stuff around. And once I put in a unit, I don't want to have to keep moving around. I've done that in the past 6 months, moving around to save money, to reduce, you know. So, and I haven't had a lot of time to list stuff. So, got tons to list. Um, and I haven't even started listing my daughter's stuff yet, which I need to really do that because that's one whole unit to itself, and that's the one I'm having problems with right now. So, if you got any advice, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna call that guy back, and if he can Mickey Mouse the thing around and get it straightened back out to the 167, which I'm thinking he won't, um, then I would just pay it, and I'd go ahead and rent a small unit today at another complex, and try to get as much moved today in the next few days, and then turn around and keep moving this stuff out till it's gone, and just end it. And I take the loss of 167 or 190, whatever it is. Um, uh, otherwise, if I can get most of it out in the next few days or get it emptied out, then you know, I'm doing good. So, and I don't mind splitting this particular unit up into two units because I don't have a 10 by 20 available at one of these other complexes that I wanted to move it to. So I don't mind doing that because it's easier for me, because if I can get that stuff knocked out, listed, and sold, then I can delete one of the small storages and then have, the other one left, and try to, get that one knocked out and sold. And, then I save a whole bunch of money if I can, clear out, pretty much, that area of that 10 by 20 whole unit. And then I can really reduce my cost of storages. So that's that's all I know. That particular unit was down from 2.8 to 3.9, total of 10 days. And they did not give me any credit for that unit being down. And so you figure that's what, $50 a week? Yeah. And so I really resent that. I really do. It's like renting a hotel room. If the plumbing's not working or the electric's off for a week, they should move you to another room, or they should, give you credit of some sort. I mean, like I say, in storage, you're paying for a piece of land, and when I can't access it, I mean, I could not get it in the unit. So, but anyway, there you have it. Plus, I had to buy another lock for $20, so that it's even more. And then I went and changed that lock because I could hear my daughter echoing in my head going, "That's just dumb. Don't give anybody keys to that unit." Plus, you guys said some stuff about it. And then one of the other storage companies I deal with says, "I would not give them a key. That's your property and they have no right to it. You don't know what will happen." And I'm like, God, they could be moving that stuff out in the middle of the night. So, yeah. Um, and see, that was one of my greatest mistakes when I was younger, was trusting people, thinking they were sincere. And you can't trust everybody. You just can't. I hate to say it, you just can't. I've been stolen from so many times through so many years, even from best friends, just to come in my house to go to the bathroom and stole from me. And it hurts. It hurts because it's like, gosh, I thought you liked me. Why would you take from me? Because I sure wouldn't do it to them. You know, I would offer to buy your stuff before I take your stuff. If I really liked it, I'd say, "Hey, look, I'll give you 50," or "Hey, look, I'll give you 100. I really like that." You know, um, I just and I really don't want you to give it to me free because I'd rather pay you. You know, I appreciate the kindness, but I'd rather pay you. So anyway, there we have it. Any suggestions? Comment below. I love you guys, and thanks for joining me on my journey. Do something kind for somebody, and I promise I'll see you in the next one. I love you.